wanted to say something. Go ahead. Councilmember Tillman. Sorry.
Yep. Thank you. I would also like to thank all of my supporters and the residents of Clayton for voting for me. Your support for the last 4+ months has been tremendous. Running into people in the pharmacy, in the grocery store, on the street, expressing why they do support my candidacy and me serving another term it's been amazing. This was not an easy campaign to run, as I mentioned every time I took to the podium when we had a chance to. And part of the reason for all of those issues are standing and sitting in the back of the room. I think that if we're going to applaud what just happened in passing me over, I think that you guys need to take a very critical look at yourselves and realize and recognize that you have a lot to do with the city turnover. That is why I'm calling for the investigation. And so while I can appreciate that the council member thinks it's only pay, that's part of the puzzle. You're not privy to what was said behind closed doors, in closed session. The rest of my council members are. That is why it's not being agendized. I think until we get to the root of that, we're going to continue to have turnover. We should all be embarrassed that that is the legacy that we are continuing on with. And I would implore all of us to work together to ensure that doesn't continue to happen. Having the excuse that we're the lowest paid or our staff are the lowest paid should not be something that we're proud of. It should be something that we try to fix. The only way to fix that is to increase revenues. So unless we're going to decide as a council that we want to use our reserves for more than just one-time expenses, we have to figure out how we're going to afford to pay more staff, get the staffing that, if we're set up for success, the way that Councilmember Diaz keeps saying, then we need to make sure that we're giving our city manager and our assistant city manager what they're asking for. They're asking for staff members to come back to the third floor. In order to do that, we have to be able to pay them. We just had a discussion earlier today about how much we can afford to pay. So I'm excited that there are 5 of us up here who actually want to address that, because that's the only way we're going to be able to keep staff in the building. Not allowing residents that are in town to continue to harass them, sending out their ridiculous flyers and emails and PRA requests, inundating staff all day long so that they cannot continue to get their work done. That's part of the problem that we have. Oh, you guys are just so happy. When you guys eat crow, I can't wait. It's you 4 sitting right back there. I'm imploring you guys to please, if you really want to help the city, do just that. Don't be troublemakers. What you're doing is not helpful. I know 20 years ago, you were called a mover and shaker, Mr. Hood. You no longer are. All you're doing is moving and shaking city staff out of town. I'm imploring you to please stop doing that. I would also like Clayton Watch to remove my email from your distribution list. You do not have an unsubscribe button on there. You need to add that. Your PAC needs to do that. It's illegal. Please do it, because right now you're spamming everybody. I have no way of telling you to do that because there's no button. So I'm publicly asking you to please unsubscribe my email address. Now, back to the residents. What I would like to do, and I'm ready to begin implementing our goals that we set forth this past spring. We did that when Adam was here as our interim city manager. We talked about them, and then we had a session this summer, and we were waiting for Mr. Loftus to come on board so that we can actually discuss those and begin implementing them in 2025. I think it's very important that we do that coming in January. There was time for you to be able to get up to speed. I know for you guys, you want to be able to have staff on board. That's critical. But I'm going to continue to advocate for public safety, our beautiful neighborhoods, accessible infrastructure. We need to make sure that our seniors and our students and children in town have a way to get around town easily. I know that some of our sidewalks are in disrepair and that we do have that program to fix that, but we've had ADA complaints from residents for several years that need to be addressed. I know that we are improving some things on our streets as far as crossing and making that safer for them. But the Trails and Landscape Committee, that poor committee has been neglected for several months. And I know that's because we have continued turnover, and this is what happens when you don't have staff, is you can't get anything done. Maybe that's by design, but it's not helpful. But that's part of the reason why we can't ever move the needle and get work done in town, is because there's constant turnover and lack of staff. So in order for us to get this work done with the trails where we have an oak tree that's falling, and I know that we have a FEMA grant to take care of that, but it's more than just that. We actually need to look at the entire trail system as well as our landscaping. That way no more flyers about weeds can go out saying that council members or staff are not doing their job or that the maintenance team isn't. This staff is working hard with the few people that they do have, and they're doing an amazing job in all of the departments. We owe it to them as council members to give them the tools and the resources that they need and deserve to get their work done. And I'm hoping that that's something that we can start doing in January of 2025. So thank you again to everyone who voted for me. I'm looking forward to serving for another 2 years, regardless of people trying to make it difficult. I don't need a title to lead. I do it regardless. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Tillman.